Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a look at an old figure from Collecta, and this is actually one that someone had requested, although I no longer can remember who it was that exactly requested it because it was quite a while ago, but I didn't actually own the figure. I had to get a hold of it first, so I did, just for whoever it was that asked for this to be reviewed. And it's definitely a very interesting looking figure. This is the Collecta Standard Alioramus, and it's a figure of a species that you really don't see get too many figures of. So it's awesome that there is in fact one of this being made. However, one thing that I don't know personally, so maybe some of you can help me with, is what is up with the kind of like sail-like appearance on the back of the head and neck. I'm not too familiar with Alioramus, as it's never been a species I was really too interested in. I do think it's a very cool dinosaur, and I do know a little bit about it, but even trying to look up information about this, I don't know what the inspiration was for the sail-like appearance to the back of the Alioramus. Being an older figure from Collecta, it's really not the best as far as what you would see now if Collecta made a more up-to-date Alioramus. However, it does definitely still have its charm. I think the proportions of the figure look to be off pretty significantly, like the tail is a good bit shorter than it should be, and the legs kind of look a little bulkier. And in general, just kind of some of the body proportions look to be a little off. But being an older figure, it can definitely be forgiven, because Collecta has improved leaps and bounds, I'm sure, since this was made. They did get the elongated skull shape of the Alioramus here really nicely in the sculpt, along with those trademark bumps that you see on the top of the skull of the Alioramus, so that is a huge plus. So let's go ahead, we'll get a closer look. So looking at the head sculpt, you can definitely tell that it's not nearly as highly detailed as you would see on a more modern, up-to-date Collecta figure, as I stated before. However, you can see that they have, like I stated, gotten the elongated skull shape of the Alioramus here, and the bumps on the top of the head that are trademarked to the Alioramus, so that does look really cool. The mouth looks a little bit weird. You can see the teeth are pretty nicely sculpted in there and painted as well. There's not really any sloppiness. You can see the tongue. Also, it's a little hard because it's pretty dark in there, but it looks pretty good. It's got a nice realistic coloration to it. You can see the nostrils sculpted out here up in the upper part of the snout. And one thing that I do want to say that is really nice is the eyes. Look how beautiful those eyes look. Nice brown in there with a beautiful black pupil, and it glistens and shines so beautifully, so realistically. It honestly almost looks like it's just staring at me, and it's kind of thinking, don't say anything bad about me, buddy, or I'll bite your finger off. So let's not say anything too bad about our Alioramus friend, because he kind of looks like he might have a temper. But if we get back here, you can see the ears are sculpted out there, which looks really quite nice. The detail and sculpt as far as the skin texture, again, isn't as nice as what you would see on a more up-to-date Collecta figure. And in fact, a lot of the places it's kind of muted a little bit and looks a little weird. But the sculpt and detail that is included does look pretty nice. As we move down here into the shoulder, you can see the shoulder blade protruding from the skin there a little bit. And we come out to those Rex type arms, which again might be a little bit off as far as proportions go, but that's kind of the theme, I think, of this figure. As far as its proportions go, it's a little wacky. You can definitely see the somewhat decent looking skin texture here on the side of the upper part of the stomach, and then we get down here into the lower part of the stomach. You can see some skin wrinkling going on. And again, I don't want to judge this thing too harshly just because it's definitely an older figure. I don't know if it states the year it was made anywhere. There we go. Let's see if it says the year it was made. So 2008, that was a long time ago for Collecta, so it's kind of understandable that this is a little bit not only outdated, but not quite as good as what we see currently from Collecta. You can definitely pick up on some beautiful shading that they've done here in the musculature of the leg. That looks pretty nice. The hip bone is elaborated there. Very large calf muscles as well. You can even see, I think, like an osteoderm right there on the side of the leg. Very nicely sculpted feet, beautifully painted nails. I do like the darker coloration the lower you get in the feet. It looks really nice as far as the paint application goes. It's not anything overly flashy, and it's given a beautiful appearance as far as skin tone goes, which is very cool as well. And then we run out the length of the tail. You can again pick up on some of those scales and everything. In fact, this is an area where it's really impressive. It's so long ago that I don't even know if the cloaca is sculpted out there on the underside. Maybe a little bit, but nothing like you would currently see from Collecta. And if we look at this side, it's kind of the same sculpt that you saw on the opposing side. You can definitely pick up on a few osteoderms here and there throughout the animal, so that's really nice to see. And the foot sculpt looks good on this side as well. See, the dew claw is back there and nicely painted. The hands are also nicely painted. I do like that they transition to a darker color down on the lower part of the fingers. And again, you can see the nice darkening of the certain areas, the beautiful shading that they've done on this. And the paint app, like I said, does look really, really nice. It's just that the model is a good bit outdated and a lot older as far as Collecta goes. So as far as the size goes on the Alioramus, from the tip of the snout to the tail, you're looking at about 6 1/4 inches or 16 centimeters for a length. For a height, about 3 3/4 inches or about 9 1/2 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is the Papo T-Rex, and you can see our buddy the Alioramus down there is ignoring the Papo Rex back here behind him. For some reason he wants nothing to do with his relative, but regardless, you can see that being a standard figure, it's actually kind of large for a standard figure from Collecta. Every once in a while they get a fairly decent sized standard figure. More often than not, it's usually the sauropods, but the Alioramus definitely has a pretty decent size to it and can hold his own. So this Collecta standard Alioramus definitely is not their best work. However, it's still got a good fun kind of an old school charm to him. He's a bit off as far as his proportions go. His sculpt work is a little bit muted. He's not really that highly detailed like you would definitely see on a newer Collecta figure. As I've said a few times, it actually kind of looks more like this sculpt might have been based more towards children, as he has kind of a childish type of an appearance. But at the same time, it is still awesome in general to have an Alioramus figure, because really, how often do we get them? I can't even think of anybody else that has one currently, so that is a huge plus as far as Collecta goes. I mean, I know we're going to get a Mattel one, which will also be awesome, but I'm super psyched in general to now be able to add an Alioramus to my collection, simply because there are just none. They're pretty much non-existent when it comes to these more mainstream companies and their prehistoric models. You just don't get an Alioramus. So thankfully, Collecta has made one way back in 2008, which is now 11 years ago, which is pretty crazy. And it's not the worst figure, but it's just not the best, that's for sure. However, his eyes look really, really awesome. I will continue to say that till the end of time. I definitely love the eyes on this Alioramus. And the paint app is also really quite nice. It's just not anything overly flashy, but a potentially realistic color for this type of a dinosaur. So, if you are interested in picking this guy up, I will include a link in the description to where you can buy this on everythingdinosaur.com. Again, it's not the best Collecta figure you're gonna find, but at least there is an Alioramus out there. So, check the description, go pick this guy up, but before you do that, don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.